Hello, MCU fans. Today we're going to take a look at the heroes, family, and friends that we've lost along the way during the MCU. Now, in my earlier State of Villainy video, I looked at the villains that are alive and are dead, but in my State of Heroism, I only focused on the heroes that are alive. So this video is going to fill that gap. We're going to spin through the movies quickly to tally up all the heroes, family, and loved ones that we've lost, and then do some analysis at the end that I think you'll find really interesting. So let's dive right into the heroes, family, and friends that we've lost in the MCU. Now, I've broken them into several categories. We have superheroes that have powers or highly trained skills. We have public servants, the fire, police, military, or other service areas. And really these are the heroes when you think about it. They have no powers, yet they run headfirst into danger to save others. So shout out in real life, as well as in the MCU, to our public servants. We have family or friends, someone closely tied to a superhero that lost their life. We have reformed villains, previously villainous, but ended their life in a heroic act. Of course, I covered these in the State of Villainy, but they make sense to cover here too. Plus, I missed one, so I'm going to make up for it. We have pets, enough said. And we have, again, the dotted line square that indicates someone is a variant or from another universe, because, man, there are a lot of variants popping up everywhere. So I'm going to go through everything in release order other than the clear prequels, Captain America, Captain Marvel, and Black Widow, because they make more sense to put in chronological order. So we start with Captain America, the First Avenger, and Dr. Abram Erskine, who, of course, gave his life and helped make Captain America who he is and became. We have Captain Marvel, where we lost Marvel, and we lost Norex, Talos' science guy, who was, of course, killed by Jan Rog. So two more family friends. We have Iron Man, our first three public servants, Ramirez, Pratt, and Jimmy, all members of the military who lost their lives, and Jensen, who died helping save Iron Man so that he could go on and live. And so we're up to three public servants, four family friends. Now, Incredible Hulk had no one falling into these categories die. Nor did Iron Man 2, nor did Thor. Oh, but Avengers. Avengers, we lose Phil Coulson. And yes, I do understand he was resurrected in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but his death here was so significant, I'm going to mention it here. And so he's going to fall under superhero because he is highly skilled and trained. And then we have Officer Sanders, who died during the battle on New York, protecting civilians. Iron Man 3, another public servant, the Rose Hill Sheriff, was shot. And then Maya Hansen is our first villainous character, if you will, who turned heroic in the end and lost her life. So she falls under the reformed villain category. Thor the Dark World, Frigga. Oh, man. Great character. Hated to see her die. It was awesome seeing her again in Endgame during the time heist. Great character. All right, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Now, lots of good S.H.I.E.L.D. agents were killed. However, they weren't given names. There's just someone shot in the background versus Agent Anderson, who you might remember being killed guarding the hangar bay doors. He's going to kind of represent them all because I'm really sticking to people that actually had a name, or this would be enormous. So we're sticking, if you're not in the credits with a name, then you're probably not going to get a shout out, unfortunately. But shout out to all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, the good ones that lost their lives. Guardians of the Galaxy, this one's interesting because Groot really did die. I mean, yeah, he died, but the Groot died because according to James Gunn recently, he said that the baby Groot, teenage Groot, and finally the swole Groot that we now see, that's a different Groot. Don't ask me how that all works. We're talking about a living tree that can regrow itself. But anyway, that means the original Groot is indeed dead. And then we have Meredith Quill, Peter's mom, obviously, that died. And then Garth and Saul, who died during the battle against Xandar. Obviously, a ton of Xandarians died, but he was one of the few who had a name and a significant death. So I'm calling him out. We have Quicksilver, another example of a villain turned hero in the end. Then we have Antony. Poor Antony. Now, I'm listing him as a pet. I'm not sure he would appreciate that. He might be, I'm not a pet. But just to call him Animal doesn't seem very significant, so pet sounds cuter. But anyway, bummer about Antony. Tough to be the lead ant in the movies. Then Captain America Civil War. We have Peggy Carter, who's going to fall under the superhero category because of her skill set. Obviously T'Chaka, and then Howard and Maria Stark, who had died previously and been mentioned even as dead, but this is where we really learned about their deaths, so I'm including them here. A Black Widow, no one falls in the categories. Doctor Strange, proving it is tough to work at the Sanctums. Obviously, the Ancient One died, but also in defense of the Sanctums, we lost the Librarian, Daniel Drum, and Saul Rama. So yeah, Yeah, I'm calling them public servants versus I am putting the Ancient One in the superhero category. Guardians of the Galaxy, we have another public servant, Officer Fitzgibbon, who died when the ego goo killed a bunch of people. In fact, there were more officers that died there, but he was the only one that had a name and a line, so I'm calling him out. And Yondu, obviously, a reformed villain. Spider-Man Homecoming, no one falls in the category. Thor Ragnarok, wow. Lots of deaths. Fandral, Hogan, Volstagg, Odin, and the Executioner who died a noble death, heroic death. I'm calling Odin family. You could argue he's a superhero, but I don't know if he would even call himself a superhero. So let me know in the comments if I'm putting him in the wrong category. He maybe he should be superhero. But anyway, putting him in family friend, but the Warriors 3 are all going in superhero category. All right, Black Panther. We have Zuri, who obviously died, and then the poor member of the Dora Milaje who had her throat slit by Killmonger. So putting her as a superhero, because I think all the Dora Milaje get that category, and Zuri goes in the family friend. All right, Infinity War. Man, we had some tough ones in this one. Obviously, Vision and Gamora, Heimdall, all in the superhero category, and then Loki dying as a reformed villain. Then Ant-Man and the Wasp. Man, it is tough to be the lead ant, Antonio Banderas. He died being eaten by a seagull, you might remember. Then Avengers Endgame. We have Black Widow and Iron Man. Obviously, Captain America is out of commission. We just don't know if he's dead. I've mentioned that in some other videos. I wish they would just give it to us for sure. It seems likely he's dead, but anyway, I'm going to give him a shout out, I guess, but I can't list him as dead because he's not been confirmed. All right, Spider-Man Far From Home. No one falls in the category. WandaVision. We learn about Maria Rambeau's death. We already knew about the Maximov's death, Wanda's parents, but this is where we really met them. And Sparky, poor Sparky. I don't know if Sparky was part of the Hex or was real. I kind of think he was real until he died. But anyway, he'll fall in the pet category. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Battlestar, a bummer, a great character. Didn't get much chance to know him, but I'm putting him under superhero, obviously. Loki, we get our first variant, I should say classic Loki, our first variant, very noble death. I'm calling him a superhero, obviously. What if, let's face it, there are a ton of heroes that are killed in What If. And this page would be littered with just Iron Man alone, who I think died every other episode. I'm not going to list them if they were just part of a multiverse and gone. I am listing Christine Palmer, though, because her death was so significant to that episode, and I can't help but wonder if the result of that first season with Doctor Strange against Infinity, Killmonger, for lack of a better term, if they might not show up during Secret Wars. I really think What If is going to ultimately impact the main 616. We'll see. But that's why I'm listing Christine Palmer, because it was so significant to the episode and may even end up tying into 616. All right, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We have Wen Wu, who, of course, was a reformed villain and significant death. Shang-Chi's mom, Ying Li, and then Master Guangbo, who died during the battle against the of Ta Lo, when they fought all in Ta Lo. The Eternals. We have Ajak and Gilgamesh, and then, of course, Icarus, who died as a reformed villain. By the way, I'm calling him, some people have asked, is he really reformed? Well, yeah, I mean, he did help stop the emergence. I don't know if he wanted to or not, but he did, because he loved Cersei so much. That's why I'm calling him reformed. And I do think he died when he flew into the sun, but who knows? Maybe he's still alive. Hawkeye, we have several characters. Echo's dad, William Lopez, obviously Kate Bishop's dad, Derek, and then Armand, who was stabbed to death. So I'm putting all of them as family friend, obviously. Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh, man. Got to be one of the roughest family friend deaths. Aunt May. Man, that was painful. Moon Knight, more family. We have Moon Knight's mom and his brother and Layla's dad. I wish I had a better picture of him. We really only saw him dead. I mean, it's kind of like in an obituary in a newspaper, you wouldn't put them in their coffin. That wouldn't be the picture you would use. But all I got is pictures of him passed away. So, yeah, oh well. So 3 family members in Moon Knight. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Oh, my goodness. I am including these variants because they directly tied to the adventures in 616, and I have a feeling that Mordo, who did live, the Mordo from 838, he's coming for revenge. So obviously we got the main Illuminati across the top. We got both Defender Strange and Supreme Strange who died. And then both Master Hamir, who did appear in the first Doctor Strange too, and then finally was killed by Wanda, and then Sarah Wolf, who was killed helping destroy the Darkhold. Then we have Miss Marvel. Now, in Miss Marvel, we have Aisha, sorry, who is Kamala's grandmother. And then we have Waleed, who is with the Order of the Red Daggers, who was killed, and Najma. Najma is the one that I messed up on, and she did die a heroic death. I mean, she stopped probably the Noor dimension as well as our dimension from colliding and being destroyed. So, yeah, I missed her during State of Villainy, but definitely she deserves the call out here. Then Thor Love and Thunder. We have Jane Foster / Lady Thor / Mighty Thor, and then Gore, who died a heroic death at the end. She-Hulk, yeah, no surprise, right? It was meant as a comedy. It would have been weird if we'd had any deaths in that. Werewolf by Night. We have Ulysses Bloodstone. Elsa's dad passed away. I don't know whether... it was hard to tell whether Elsa had any respect for him or not, but I'm still going to list him. I think he was a significant other that died, obviously. Wakanda Forever, we finally learn that T'Challa has died, obviously in universe, but in the real world, Chadwick Boseman's tragic death was acknowledged. And then Ramonda died. So rough movie. And then finally, the Guardians Holiday Special. No surprise, no deaths. All right, so let's look at what we have here. So here are the superheroes who have died. And the top row, probably my favorite heroes, I guess. You could say I kind of put it in that order, but maybe some of the most significant deaths. But not to diminish anyone in the second row. All of those were significant heroes as well. And then the bottom row is our variant row. So, yeah, I mean, certainly Marvel does not kill as many superheroes as they do villains, but I was maybe a little surprised to see this many significant characters. Again, even if you eliminate the variants on the last row, the first two rows, those are some pretty significant characters. And once again, Captain America gets a shout out in that maybe he's dead. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is he dead? Then we have reformed villains. There were 9 of them. So, they get a nice shout out. It shows in life. You may start out poorly, but if you end well, that's what matters. That's how you're remembered. Then we have public servants. So across the top row is our military, police, and shield agent there, obviously. And on the bottom, man, again, it's tough to be a sorcerer and defend the sanctums because that's 5 of them that all died. And then the Talo deaths, the Red Dagger death, and Xandar. So shout out again to our public servants. Then we have friends and family. Now this is what is interesting to me. Look at the number of parents on those top 2 rows. Parents or relatives, brother in some cases. I mean, you got Aunt May, so Peter Parker. You got Tony Stark's parents. You got Shuri and Black Panther's parents. You got Wanda's parents. You got both of Thor's parents. Kamala's grandmother. Both of Shang-Chi's parents, although remember Wenwu showed up under Reform Villain, but both of Shang-Chi's parents, Echo's parents, Kate's parents, Moon Knight's mom and brother, Quill's mom, Elsa's dad, and Layla's dad. What does Marvel have against family? And of course, Disney in general, you could argue, with the Disney movies. Then on the bottom, we have more of the relatives and significant others and friends. So, wow. A lot of family and friends. It's tough to be a family or friend member, a family member or a friend to the superheroes. And then finally we have the pets, the 2 ants and sweet little Sparky. So we'll end here. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Did I miss anybody? Did I mislabel anybody? And in the meantime, if you don't mind, if you'd like this video, you can subscribe if you haven't already. Check out more content, and we can all continue to enjoy the ever-growing, ever-expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe.